PQ MNAs back at the National Assembly today were bombarded with questions about their leader. Paul St-Pierre Plamondon drew outrage last week after accusing Quebec cultural organizations of being, quote, intellectually void and disloyal to Quebec. He made the comments after the organizations congratulated the new culture minister at the federal level, Marc Miller. Joining us now is political analyst Raphael Melançon. And Raphael, Paul St-Pierre Plamondon was caught up in a week-long controversy. He was invited to the Sunday talk show Tout le monde en parle because everyone was talking about it. He apologized for his choice of words, but do you think this was a real apology, and was it enough for damage control?
Well, he didn't really apologize for what he said. He said, I apologize if you were shocked by my words, by my choice of words. So it's not really, it didn't feel like a sincere apology. He did, though, admit that he would do things differently if he could today, knowing the controversy that was sparked by his choice of words and by his harsh criticism towards the leaders of the cultural industry. But let's face it, the damage is really done here in the relationship between the PQ and the artists. You know, historically, artists have always been very important allies of the PQ and of the sovereignist movement. Their influential support and approval is crucial for Paul St-Pierre Plamondon if he wants ever to, first of all, of course, win the next election, but also convince the majority of Quebecers to support Quebec sovereignty in an eventual third referendum. So he needs to be careful here in his relationship with a group that has traditionally been a very close ally of his party. But I feel like this whole controversy here, Maya, shows that this is a party that has radically changed under Paul St-Pierre Plamondon's leadership. It's radicalized on major issues such as immigration, identity, for instance. And we see here things that we have not heard from PQ leaders in the past. So it's a shift towards certainly the center right of the political spectrum from Paul St-Pierre Plamondon. And it shows maybe that artists are probably more at home today with Quebec Solidaire than with the PQ.
Well, a question that PQ MNAs were facing today over and over again, I was watching this press conference, was, is Paul St-Pierre Plamondon too impulsive? Is he too emotional? Is this part of the issue, do you think?
I would even say he's arrogant. That's the problem here. And, you know, Quebecers in general, usually appearing like you know better than everybody else, it doesn't really pay off in politics. Quebecers used to have a long love relationship with very humble politicians, such as René Lévesque, for instance. So I would say if I were his advisor, I would really advise Mr. Paul St-Pierre Plamondon to change his tone, because on the long term, that could turn against him and his chances of winning the next election.
Okay, so we have a minute left. We were just talking about the new federal culture minister. Now let's talk about the former federal culture minister, Stephen Guilbeault, who resigned from Mark Carney's cabinet because he didn't support the Prime Minister's energy deal with Alberta. That was nearly 2 weeks ago, but it seems he still isn't finished speaking out. He wrote an open letter in La Presse today criticizing this pipeline project. I mean, how is this going over? How do you think it's going over with his Liberal colleagues and the Prime Minister?
One question here, Maya. What is Stephen Guilbeault still doing in the Liberal caucus? I mean, obviously, you can't just behave like you're a member of the official opposition and still remain a member of that party. If you really sincerely disagree with your government's decisions, then just resign, sit as an independent MP, or join another party. I'm sure Stephen Guilbeault would be more at home right now with the NDP or the Greens, whom are much ideologically closer to him in terms of when it comes to the environment. But right now, it's also a question of Mark Carney's leadership, because he appears weak if he tolerates such behavior among his own team. And eventually, if that continues, then I believe that Mark Carney will have no choice but to show Mr. Guilbeault the way out and invite him to sit as an independent or join another party.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Raphael, thank you as always for your insights. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, Maya. See you next time.